One in 2025 has been an absolute cracker so far, but we want to dissect and debate the teammate battles. Each team, which driver will do better in each team. That's what we're going to be debating and discussing here. So if you like Formula One content like this, be sure to smash a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, of course. The order in which I'm going to do this is based on the Constructors' Championship last season. So starting in 10th place, we're going to kick things off, ironically, with Sauber, Nico Hülkenberg and Gabriel Bortoleto. Hülkenberg, years and years of experience in Formula One, a seasoned vet if you will. Unfortunately, still hasn't got that podium ever in Formula One, nor has he won a race, obviously, right? But Gabriel Bortoleto, fresh, brand new rookie into the Formula One season. He won the F3 and the F2 championship back to back. He's currently the F2 champion, but of course won't retain that because he's in Formula One. And if I'm going to ask, or try and debate who I think will finish higher, I think we'll have to go to Nico Hülkenberg purely on the experience. Okay, a couple of things. It's a stake F1 team where the car is not necessarily great. They're keeping their eyes all onto 2026. So we're not expecting much from the Kick Sauber team, but Nico Hülkenberg, wealth of experience, bags of experience. He's done a million laps, okay? He helped Germany get their 8,000th point in Formula One, for goodness sake. The guy is absolutely a brilliant, reliable, solid Formula One driver. Bortoleto is more like the exciting one. The Brazilian looks like he's going to be someone that we can look to in the future, winning Formula One races, hopefully, even probably getting podiums as well, as and when the car sees fit, or if he joins into a better team. But I'm not expecting much from Bortoleto, but I am excited. Being a McLaren fan myself, he came through with our McLaren, obviously, academy, and I'm just looking forward to seeing what he can do. But I do think, just purely on the wealth experience and the fact that the car is a lot difficult, is very, very slow and difficult to drive, the experience for Nico Hülkenberg will prevail. Williams, we've got Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz. This one I cannot really, honestly, decipher. This is a great driver lineup. It's actually a very underrated driver lineup. Do click on the card above on the driver lineups that I did in terms of ranking which ones were the best. I put Williams pretty high, let me tell you that. Alex Albon now, it's the first time I think he's going to have an actual serious teammate in terms of in that Williams. It's going to push him to do well, to do more. Carlos Sainz, we know what that man is capable of. A race winner in Formula One, okay? Probably hard done by with the way he was done, sort of dumped out of Ferrari because of Lewis Hamilton's capture. But at the same time, he's such an underrated driver, Carlos Sainz. I think when you think head-to-head between him and Charles Leclerc, I don't think there was much between the two. And in fact, I was more impressed with Carlos Sainz than I was with Charles Leclerc. But in this scenario here where he's at the Williams now, he's at a brand new team, he's learning the car a little bit, he would have to, there's going to be a lot of things to learn, and he's not new to this because Carlos Sainz has had, this is like his 10th team in Formula One, okay? Exaggeration. But he's been with like Renault, he's been with Toro Rosso back then, he's been with McLaren, he's been with Ferrari, so he's been around the globe, so in terms of the first season, 2025, I think Alex Albon will finish ahead, and two reasons: because Alex Albon is very talented, very underrated, and I think now he's also got somebody who's really going to push him. Carlos Sainz will push Alex Albon as the season goes on. I think at the start of the season, Alex Albon will probably have the upper hand, but Carlos Sainz will get better, and it will do nothing but urge Alex Albon to do better. Racing Bulls, V-Carb, we've got Isaac Hadjar, we've got Yuki Tsunoda. Isaac Hadjar, rookie, okay? So not expecting a great deal from him. It's going to be a tough season. He's going to be learning a lot this season. But I am looking forward to the Frenchman. I want to see how he gets on in Formula One. Yuki Tsunoda's got a chip on his shoulder, okay? Not getting that Red Bull seat will have angered him for sure. No doubt about it. He will be looking at that Red Bull seat, showing Red Bull, you should have picked me instead of Liam Lawson. And so, Yuki Tsunoda will have a chip on his shoulder. I wonder how good that RB will be. If it's going to have a bit of pace, if it's going to be in the front of that midfield pack, then there's a big opportunity for Yuki Tsunoda. There's a big opportunity for Isaac Hadjar as well to score some solid points and really, for once, actually put Yuki's name in a good light, because we always talk about Yuki Tsunoda's potential, but we do talk about his mistakes. We do talk about how sort of erratic he can be. But you know what? I think if Liam Lawson doesn't have a great season, and if Yuki Tsunoda does, you never know. Next season, Red Bull or even before the season ends, Red Bull are prone to doing anything at any time. Haas. Now we've got Oliver Bearman and Esteban Ocon. Now this is a risky move from Haas, only because two new drivers, okay, not just one. Now, at least Esteban Ocon, tons of experience in Formula One, so somebody that they can definitely rely on. Oliver Bearman has been very impressive. You know, the few races that he had in 2024, when he stepped in that Ferrari and he stepped in for Carlos Sainz, and also when he's had that time in that Haas, he's been really, really impressive. I'm actually happy to see how these two get on. By the way, I didn't even say Yuki Tsunoda will finish ahead of Isaac Adjar, by the way. That's my prediction there. But in the Haas team, it's a lot more difficult, but I'm going to go with Esteban Ocon because he's got the wealth of experience. Oliver Bearman is a rookie. Esteban Ocon has won a Formula One race before, nearly said championship. Of course, he won the Hungarian Grand Prix in that Alpine. He's got on podiums before when we felt like the team wasn't good enough. The car wasn't necessarily capable, even when he was in the Racing Point days and Force India. Esteban Ocon is quite underrated in my opinion, and then he's not really spoken about a lot. I'm actually happy that he got out of that Alpine situation because Alpine, you know what, they had a French driver, they had two French drivers for goodness sake, but they didn't really treat Ocon with that same respect that I feel they treat Gasly, and it seems to be the case worldwide. You know, he's not necessarily the most popular man on the paddock, but Esteban Ocon I think will definitely be more solid because he's got the wealth of experience. He knows how to get points, and he's one of those silent drivers where all of a sudden you'll look at a race weekend and feel like, oh wait, he's P7. How did that happen? You know, where did that Haas come from? So, you know, and Haas seem to be getting things together, you know, with Ayo Komatsu being the technical director, the team principal rather, they seem to be getting things put together, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far they can progress. But yeah, Esteban Ocon, this is no slight on Oliver Bearman, but Esteban Ocon will be the winner out of those two. On to Alpine. So now they've changed one of their drivers. We've got Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan. Now, straight off the bat, I think Pierre Gasly is going to be the man that's going to obviously get more points because Jack Doohan is a rookie. And also, Alpine, bizarrely, or maybe it's not bizarre, I don't know what you guys think. Comment down below on the Colapinto situation, right? Is it a wise choice to have him as a third driver? Because the pressure now that's on Jack Doohan at the start of a season, which you just don't need in Formula One. Honestly, you don't. But I wonder if I wonder if Jack Doohan is kind of looking over his shoulder, and that will kind of distract him on the focus of what's at hand, because he knows Colapinto is right there waiting on the wing in case anything happens. Pierre Gasly, you know, wealth of experience. He's been in Formula One for ages now, and you know, he's more than likely to score more points than Jack Doohan. Also a race winner, just like Esteban Ocon is, and also collects those podiums as well. So yeah, Pierre Gasly for me, quite easy, will finish ahead of Jack Doohan. Aston Martin, I think this is another simple one as well. Fernando Alonso versus Lance Stroll. Now look, Lance Stroll is one of those topics that everyone is frustrated about talking about, but he's still here, so we still have to talk about him, unfortunately. But Lance Stroll, do you know what, if it felt like he gave a damn, then we would actually be like, do you know what, let's see what Lance Stroll can do. It's just the fact that even his demeanor is very much somebody who doesn't even want to be there in Formula One, and yet there's drivers out there chomping at the bit to be there. And we know that the reason he's still in Formula One at this moment in time, or at least in the Aston Martin, is because his dad owns Aston Martin. So, and it's just incredible, because I think there is talent there with Lance Stroll, and I think that there's definitely a case where if he applies himself, he would be really, really good. You know, he would be talked about like we talk about Alex Albon and Gasly and people like that, Esteban Ocon. But yeah, he's just seems to be like the worst out of that midfield lot, and it's just frustrating to see him there when we know there's other drivers that are probably more deserving of having that seat. On the other hand, Fernando Alonso, you know, 40 plus years of age, right? And he's still here in Formula One, still going, still producing, and he still finishes ahead of Lance Stroll. So he hasn't obviously lost that drive. He hasn't obviously lost the enthusiasm. But it's a very simple one, and Aston Martin just need a shake-up in my opinion. I think next season, at least 2026, brand new regulations, Adrian Newey in the camp, and I wonder if Adrian Newey is going to have a word with Lawrence and just say, look, can we have a conversation about your son, because I think it's time we move things on. Mercedes, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Look, again, Kimi Antonelli, rookie. Very quick, rapid quick, okay? But George Russell is growing and growing. I don't know if people are paying attention to this man at all, because when there's been a race win available to Mercedes, George Russell picks that win up, okay? And yeah, I think he's had a disqualification last season, but he seems to still get on those podiums. He still seems to get those race wins. And you know, out of like all the top drivers that everyone talks about, George Russell is spoken about the least. Like, I hear more Charles Leclerc than I hear more George Russell, and I don't think that's right. I think George Russell is definitely a future Formula One world champion. That's how strongly I feel about George Russell. He is a brilliant driver. He has grown and grown in that Formula One seat, in that Mercedes seat as well. He was impressive with that Williams, and then even more so in that Mercedes, when you consider he was up against Lewis Hamilton, and you know, he held his weight against Lewis Hamilton in that Mercedes for sure. Some might argue he even beat Lewis Hamilton. So George Russell for me, very underrated, and will definitely be ahead of Kimi Antonelli. Antonelli's a rookie. It's hard to even begin deciphering how good or how bad he will be this season. I think he'll be very impressive, and in fact I think Kimi Antonelli will get a race win, because I do think that Mercedes is a lot better than people are giving it credit for. Red Bull, we've got Liam Lawson and 4-time and current world champion Max Verstappen. What do you think my answer is going to be? Max Verstappen, of course, is going to finish ahead of Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson has got a lot of learning to do this season. He's got to make sure that he's not worse than Sergio Perez. That's his aim. He needs to be better than Sergio Perez, and then, you know, we can go from there. First season, you know, it's a rookie season as well in terms of a full season for him in Formula One. And, you know, Max Verstappen is going to be lightning quick as always. The Red Bull car, however, this year doesn't seem like it's the best. It doesn't feel like it's the championship car that we've had in the past. But nonetheless, Max Verstappen, if anybody can do it on the grid, can squeeze points out of that team, can get podiums, can get race wins. And I'm sure, you know, it will not be an easy title race for anyone this season. Last two, and if you're liking Formula One content like this, please share and like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. Formula One content like this will be in your screens every single week. But now Ferrari, let's talk about them. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton. This will be very interesting. Why? Because people might think Charles Leclerc will easily be ahead of Lewis Hamilton, but I think Lewis Hamilton jumping into a new team, having a fresh, brand new start, he can act like the last couple of years haven't really happened. He can really get into that Ferrari seat and say, you know what? I'm still Lewis Hamilton. I'm still 7-time world champion. And if we think for us, like, you know, just it's an easy answer, you're absolutely wrong. Lewis Hamilton, I think, is going to get race wins this season. I think Lewis Hamilton is going to impress. He might even get a pole position, right? That's when you know that Lewis Hamilton is back. If we see a pole position from him, he will be back in full effect, no doubt about it. Charles Leclerc, however, seasoned in that Ferrari. Let's have it right. He knocked out Sebastian Vettel. He went toe to toe with Carlos Sainz, and like I said, I think Carlos Sainz held his weight up pretty well in that Ferrari. But yeah, Charles Leclerc is going to have his work cut out, okay? It's going to be nail-bitingly close. I do think Charles Leclerc will win overall because he's been in Ferrari way longer than Lewis Hamilton has. But I'm telling you, it's going to be like 5, 6, 10 points maximum will be the difference. It's going to be that close. I think Ferrari has got a good car this season. And listen, if you've got a 7-time world champion in there, yeah, a man who won a race last year, lest we forget, like Lewis Hamilton is not dead and buried. He's not too old to drive in Formula One. Look at him. He looks in phenomenal shape as well. He will definitely win a race for Ferrari this season. Mark my words on that one. And so too will Charles Leclerc, of course. And Charles Leclerc is somebody who's very consistent. He's very consistent, like let's say in the top 5 of every single race. Even if the Ferrari is not that great, he still manages to collect a good amount of points, a good haul of points. So that's what I will say. But all I'm saying is 2026 though, Charles Leclerc will have his work cut out. That's for damn sure. McLaren, finally, who are the Constructors' champion currently right now in Formula One. Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris. Now, Oscar Piastri has had a tough year, let's say, last season, because with that McLaren getting better and better, he also, you know, he improved, don't get me wrong, but he made a lot of mistakes, and there was a lot of times where it seemed like he got into his own head a little bit. And Lando Norris picking up race wins. I mean, he got 4 wins last season, Lando Norris, in that McLaren, right? And Oscar Piastri, although, you know, he won a race there as well, he won a couple of races, he won a sprint as well, you know, and he got that the Hungary fiasco and whatnot. He definitely needs to hone in and do some proper good drives in the Formula One Grand Prix, okay? He needs to have a good season and pick up a whole amount of points. But for the simple fact that Lando Norris is probably your man or one of the favourites for the title race this season, Lando Norris is going to be the one that's going to collect more points than Oscar Piastri. However, I do think Piastri will be in this title race. I will not rule him out whatsoever, and I genuinely think that it's going to be so close between those two this season. Last year was quite a big gap. I think Piastri finished P4 in the Drivers' Championship, Lando Norris P2, right? So there wasn't that, you know, in terms of positions, it wasn't that crazy. But Lando Norris will be doing all he can to make sure he chases down Max Verstappen and goes for that title race. But because the car is superb, Oscar Piastri will be collecting a hell of amount of points. He will be costing Lando Norris points this season in terms of drivers' championship points, but they will be gaining, of course, in constructors' championship points, and they're my favorite to win the constructors' championship anyway. But Oscar Piastri is going to be very, very good. He's going to be very, very close. I hope that he has a very impressive year. I hope to see, you know, like when Lando Norris had a few race wins and he was like 20 seconds ahead, 30 seconds ahead. I'm hoping to see the same thing from Oscar Piastri, and I think Oscar Piastri will definitely get quite a few race wins because that McLaren is proper. It's here, it's ready to go. But in the end, I think Lando Norris will pip Oscar Piastri. I do think Piastri will finish P2 in the Drivers' Championship, only because that Red Bull worries me. Even though it's got Max Verstappen in it, it worries me. It's a poor car. Lando Norris, though, will be your championship winner. He will win the Drivers' Championship, and Oscar Piastri will be P2. So therefore, I'm putting Oscar second to Lando Norris. Lando Norris will win that battle out of those. Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this one, okay, guys? Let me know if you think there's a few drivers where I've gone way off the mark here. Am I incorrect in suggesting one driver is better than the other? Comment down below your thoughts on this as well, and let's have a debate. Do we actually think McLaren will be double champion this year, as I've predicted? And let me know in the comment section as well your thoughts on which one you're most interested in, which one is the most hardest to call. I think that Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon might be tough. Obviously the Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will be close, and so too will the Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and until next time, lights out.